Hello everyone, I am Kunal Dhumal, an MTech food technology student. I will discuss the often overlooked negative impact of the food processing, particularly focusing on environmental, social, and technological aspects. Also, we are going to study into the heterogeneous world of food processing, exploring its significance, its impact on our society, and its environmental and economical implications. These are the outlines of our discussion topic: introduction, successful outcomes by the food processing and economic impact, environmental impact of the food processing, social impact and consumer behavior, technological development in food processing, and challenges, learning, and solutions. Let's start by understanding the scale of food processing industry. The global food processing market is a tremendous entity, valued at approximately $3.5 trillion in 2022 and projected to reach $4.5 trillion by 2024. This growth underscores the industry's significance in our global food supply chain. In India, the food processing sector plays a very crucial role in our economy. It employs over 30 million people, contributing significantly to the country's manufacturing workforce. This sector accounts for nearly 11% of total workforce in manufacturing and highlighting its economic importance. However, the food processing industry also faces the significant challenges, particularly in terms of sustainability, and estimated 30% of global food production is lost or wasted along the supply chain. This wastage has far-reaching implications for food security, resource conversion, and the environment. It can be anything in the supply chain like poor transportation facility and lack of handling the food product and temperature differences. Now let's study into the environmental and nutritional aspects of the food processing. As you can see, the food sector is a significant contributor to the global greenhouse gas emission, accounting for approximately 25% in 2023. This is primarily due to the such a factor like land use changes, energy consumption, and the water uses associated with the production, processing, and transportation. While food processing enhances the food safety and shelf life, it can also lead to the loss of essential nutrients like vitamin B, vitamin C, and antioxidants. This is often a result of the high temperature and processing methods used. It's crucial to find a balance between the benefits of the food processing and its potential negative impacts. Sustainable practices and innovative technologies can help to mitigate the environmental concern and preserve the nutritional value. And we are aware about the positive outcomes of the food processing, such as nutrition enhancement, fortification, and all the food treatments that increases the shelf life and preserving the nutritional values. The first one is the nutritional enhancement. Food processing can help to preserve the nutrient and even enhance their bioavailability. For example, fortification. Fortification of the foods with essential vitamins and minerals can address the nutritional deficiencies in certain populations. And second one is the food safety and security. The food processing techniques like pasteurization, sterilization that helps to eliminate the harmful pathogen, ensuring the food safety. This is particularly important in the region with the limited access to the fresh produce or where the foodborne illness are the prevalent. Third one is the convenience. Processed food offer the convenience, allowing the individual to save time on the meal preparation. This is especially beneficial for the busy lifestyle and working professionals. Last one is the economic benefits. The food processing industry creates a job and contributes it significantly to the economy. It also supports the local farmer and the producer by providing a market for their raw materials. So, how does processed food harm the environment? You probably already know that processed food can damage your health, but there is another cost: impact on the planet. Unfortunately, those foods are convenient, tempting, and absolutely everywhere. In fact, ultra-processed foods make up 56% of the average diet in the UK. 67% believe ultra-processed food contributes to obesity and the diabetes. And yes, if we talk about the food processing, then ultimately the food packaging will come. So the relation between the food processing and the packaging, it's might be increases the wastage. Processed food often require the more water, energy, and the raw materials than the fresh foods. This is due to the processing steps, increasing used, and the transportation involved. This can have the negative impact on the environment. And what does processed actually mean? This means are those have the undergone the transformation of the raw state. This can involve the various techniques and the cost of our planet and why is the processed food can have the significant negative impact on the environment due to the resource depletion, waste generation, greenhouse gas emission, and of course land use. And what can you do? Choose the fresh foods. We can cook at home. We can read the labels by be aware the ingredients and processing methods used in the food you buy. And as well also you can reduce the food waste and support the sustainable practices. As you can see, the foods are split into the main groups. First one is the unprocessed and minimally processed. Those are raw ingredients like fruit and vegetable, nuts and seeds, pulses or fresh eggs, milk and meats. Minimally processed foods have gone through a process such as drying, crushing, freezing, boiling, and etc. So, but contains no added ingredients. And second one is the processed culinary ingredients. Those foods are not designed to be eaten alone, but are used to prepare dishes with the foods in group 1. Example, oils, butter, sugar, and salt and vinegar. Third one is the processed foods. Those are usually made by the mixing groups, one or two ingredient, to prolong the food's life or enhance its flavor. Example includes cheese, cured meats, and beer and wine. Last one is the ultra processed foods. Those are made with the ingredient you wouldn't we use at the home, such as the chemicals, colorings, sweeteners, and the preservatives. Some of UK's favorites ultra processed foods include the industrially made bread, ready meals, breakfast cereals, sausage, and chicken nuggets. So lots of stuff that we all know isn't great, but it also includes things we might think of as pretty wholesome, like baked beans, tinned soups, milk alternatives, and dairy substitutes such as soya milk. Okay, from above, do I need to feel guilty about eating anything that isn't a raw vegetable? No, the classification above are important when we talk about the negative health impact, environmental impact. We are almost always talking about ultra processed foods, and even then, there are the important distinction to be made. Okay, so what are the environmental impacts of the ultra processed foods? It varies, but the worst could be linked like the industrial farming, greenhouse gas emission, more food wastage, plastic pollutions. But eventually, the food processing have the now minimally processed techniques, and the vegetarian foods have the among the lowest environmental impact of all. As we discussed, the impacts of the food processing are the interconnected and they influence one another. So let's explore the how those different factors interact. Like we will see one by one of the how food industry and the processing effect of all above these economic impact, impact on consumer, technological impact, social impact, and the environmental impact. As we discussed, the food processing plays a significant role in our modern lives. However, it's important to acknowledge the environmental consequences of the food industry. The first one is The industrial farming. The large scale of industrial farming that practices often contribute to environmental degradation, including the deforestation, water pollution, and the soil erosion. Second one is the greenhouse gas emission. Basically, it is the release of gases into the atmosphere that contribute to the greenhouse effect, and the gases includes carbon dioxide and methane. This effect traps the heat from the sun, leading to the warming of the planet. Food processing and transportation can lead to significant greenhouse gas emission and contributing to the climate change. Third one is the problem ingredients. It contains ingredients that can have the negative environmental impact, such as excessive use of pesticides or GMOs, that is genetically modified organisms. After the waste generation, the food processing can generate the large amount of waste, including the food scraps, packaging and material, and the wastewater. After the damaging diets, yes, the consumption of excessive amount of processed food can contribute to the environmental problem throughout the increasing demand of the resources. And the last one is the plastic and the waste pollution. The packaging of processed food often involve the use of plastic material, which can contribute to the plastic pollution and the waste generation. And it's crucial to consider the environmental impacts when making the food choices and supporting the sustainable practices in the food industry. Now, let's take a closer look at the visual representation of the greenhouse gas emission from the food processing. As you can see in the chart, the food sector contributes significantly to the US greenhouse gas emission, like agriculture. In the agriculture, this sector account for the substantial uh, portion of the emission, primarily due to the cultivating the crops and raising the livestock for the food production. Second one is the processing. As we can see, the processing of the food, including the packaging, transportation, and the refrigeration, also contributes to the gas emission. And third one is the consumption and the waste. The food waste and the energy used during the consumption, such as cooking and the refrigeration, are the traditional source of the emission. And the another example is, as we discussed, the different foods have varying environmental impact. Let's take a closer look at the carbon footprint of the some common foods. As you can see in the chart, beef has the largest carbon footprint, followed by the lamb and the farm prawns. On the other hand, the plant-based protein like the tofu and beans have the significantly lower carbon footprint. And it's important to note that the carbon footprint of a food can vary depending on the factors such as the food production method, transportation distances, and the processing techniques. For example, beef produced throughout the sustainable practices may have the lower carbon footprint compared to the beef from the intensive farming systems. Now let's explore the economic benefit of the food processing. So first is the job creation. The food processing industry is a major source of employment, providing the job in areas such as manufacturing, transportation, retail, and research and development. Second one is the economic growth. The food processing industry contributes significantly to the economic growth, both at local and national level. It generates the revenue through the sales, taxes, and export. In India, for example, the food processing industry contributes the about of 13% of country's GDP, that manufacturing sectors, and the 10% of total employment. Third one is the trade and globalization. The food processing has that facilitated the international trade and the globalization, connecting the procedures and the consumers around the world. Last one is the innovation. The food processing industry has been a driver of the innovation, leading to the advancement in the technology, food safety, and product development. As we can see in the chart, the meat processing industry has witnessed the significant growth in the recent years, followed by milk processing and fisheries processing. This indicates the increasing importance of these factors in India's food processing. Additionally, the data highlights the significant contribution of the food processing sector to India's overall economic growth. The average of annual growth rate of the sector during the period of 2015 to 2022 has been the impressive, exceeding the country's GDP growth rate. Furthermore, the chart shows the production trends for the various food items in India, including meat, eggs, vegetables, and fruit. This data point that provide the insights into the changing dynamics of the food processing industries and its impact of the country's food supply. So this is how the different sector plays the role in GDP of the economic impact as an economic impact. Okay. Now let's explore the social impact of the processing. Food security. So the food processing can play a crucial role in ensuring the food security, especially in the region and with limited agricultural resources or transportation infrastructure. Second one is the access to food. It means the processed foods can be more accessible and affordable for the people in the remote areas or the communities, providing a source of nutrition. Third one is the consumer health. It's very important. While excessive consumption of the processed food can have the negative health consequences, they can also contribute the improved nutrition by providing the essential vitamins and minerals, but in limit. Fourth one is the health issues. The consumption of unhealthy processed food can contribute to various health issues, including obesity, cardiovascular diseases, diabetes, and all. And last one is the erosion of the traditional diets. The widespread availability of the processed food can lead to the erosion of traditional diets and culture of food practices. Yes, we can see how food is turning into the tradition to the modern, like by the milling practices, drying, and all. So it's important to consider the social implication of food processing and strive for the balance between its benefit and the potential drawbacks. Now, let's explore how processing influences the consumer behavior. So, first is the convenience. Processed foods offer convenience, saving consumers' times and efforts. This can be particularly appealing to the busy individuals and the families and the work professionals. Second one is the affordability. The processed foods can be more affordable than the fresh, whole foods, and especially for the low income consumers. Third one is the influence consumer behavior. Food processing can influence the consumer behavior by shaping the preference, creating new food categories, and promoting the certain dietary trends. And fourth one is the food patterns. The availability and the affordability of the processed foods can contribute to changes in the food patterns, leading to increased consumption of the processed products. And next is the expectation, like claims. We can say the food processing companies often make claims about the health benefit or the convenience of their product, which can they influence consumer choices. It might be chances of false claim, like we can say, let's see the example, like this is sugar free or this is no added sugar. This is a claim, so it might chances to uh, any false claim. And last one is the unhealthy dietary habits. Excessive consumption of the processed foods can contribute to unhealthy dietary habits, leading to the increased risk or the chronic diseases. So as we see in the video that how the ultra processed food can cause, and they're all effect. So let's analyze the impact of increasing population on the environmental aspects of the food processing. So this chart shows a clear correlation between the population growth and number of food processing plants and the resulting environmental impacts. As the population increases, there is a corresponding the rise of number of food processing plants also leading, and the consumption and the waste generation is also leading. So the data include is the population growth, expansion of food processing, increased production, environmental impacts, and all. So it's crucial to address the environmental challenges posed by the growing population and expanding the food processing industry to the ensure sustainable food production and the consumption. Now let's explore how the food processing has influenced the technological development. So in the innovation in preservation, the food processing has driven the innovation in preservation techniques such as the canning, freezing, and pasteurization. These technologies have the extended shelf life of the food product and improve the food safety. Second one is the automation and efficiency. The automation has played a significant role in improving the efficiency of the food processing operation, like robotic and the AI based and other technologies how the streamline production process or the reduce the labor cost. Depending on the technology, dependency on technology or depending on the food processing industry has become increasingly dependent on the technology. Modern food in processing plants rely on the complex machinery, software, and the automation system. So the technological waste can be the environmental impact. Uh, the use of technology in the food processing can generate the technological waste, such as the electronic components, equipment, and it's important to consider the environmental impact of the food waste and develop sustainable disposable methods. Now let's understand by the example of the apple, the specific impact like of apple export from the farm level to the transportation distribution. At the farm level and the stage, there will be positive impacts of apple export can lead to increased job creation, higher incomes for the farmers, and the boost in local economics. Additionally, it can drive the efficiency gain in apple production, potentially leading to increased yield. Simultaneously, we can see the negative impact over the positive, like increased production can strain the resources, leading to higher production. Issues like it can be issues, environmental issues like soil degradation, the use of pesticide and fertilizers can be contributors to respiratory illness among the farmers. Second stage is the processing and packaging. So similarly, the value-added products like apple juice, cider, and dried apple can generate the additional revenue for the farmer and processor. But simultaneously, we can see the energy cost can increases due to the processing and packaging operations, like labor issues such as strikes or wage disputes, can disrupt the supply chain. Similarly, in the third stage of transportation and distribution, so positive impact is the improved transportation and distribution networks can reduce the spoilage, leading to higher quality exports and reduce the food waste. And as well also reduce the transportation time by the advanced techniques. In negative impacts, the higher carbon emissions contributing to the climate change and increased the fuel cost can also impact of the overall profitability of the apple exports. Similarly, at retail and consumer levels, demand for the healthy fruits as well as the 50% of waste with the smart inventory management and the negative impact also food waste from the improper stages. 15% of produce rejected for the appearance. It's a very big negative impact. At the end of life, like waste of management, it's the uh, composting of the apple waste can reduce the methane emission and contribute to soil health. Implementing the waste reduction strategies, as the recycling, the composting can decreases the amount of waste sent to the landfills. Okay, and the negative, landfills can emit the greenhouse gases, including the methane, contributing to the climate change. Additionally, waste disposal can increase the landfills, become the more congested and all. So as we can see, this export of apples has both positive and negative impacts at each stages of the both supply chain. It's essential to carefully consider these factors when evaluating the sustainability and the economic viability of the apple export. For as we have explored the various impacts of the food processing, it's clear that it's complex and it's complex issue with the both positive and negative aspects. To ensure the sustainable and equitable food system, it's essential to balance those impacts. If yes, there is sustainable practices needed that promote the sustainable farming and reduce the food waste and minimize the environmental pollution. Second one is the technological advancement needed, investment in research and development to develop the innovative technologies that improve the efficiency, that can reduce the waste as well as enhance the food safety. Third one is the consumer awareness. Raise the consumer awareness about the environmental and the social impact of the food processing, empowering them to make informed choices. After social responsibility is very important, encourage the food processing companies to adopt the socially responsible practices such as the fair labor standards of ethical sourcing and all. After the economic development, promote the economic development in a sustainable manner, ensuring that the benefit of the food processing are shared equitably. And the transparency in food labeling is very most important things. Encourage the transparency in the food labeling to provide the consumer with accurate information about the ingredients and the processing methods with the nutritional content of the food products. Last one is the wastewater recycling. Implement wastewater recycling plant and treatment practices to minimize the environmental impact of the food processing. It's very necessary. After in today's overview of the presentation, we can conclude we have looked at that world of food processing, how it help us and the problem it can cause. The food processing industries is very important for the economics around the world, creating job and making food more accessible. But there are also challenges we are need to face, and especially when it comes to environment or health. So all the negative impact, how we can address this, and the better we have to look at. So moving forward to the balance, the good and bad impact of the food processing, we should focus on the using of more sustainable methods, reducing the food waste, um, eco-friendly packaging, green transportation, and help to people make better food choices. This will help to create the healthier and greener future for everyone. So thank you.